in Coors when you get that sort of start. Weather-wise today in Denver, it is another one. It is 92 degrees with the wind blowing out. Now, it's a little bit harder today because it's a Hunter Brown start on the Houston side. Where did that shoot? Right in front of me. It's Austin Gomber on the other side.
Yep.
The only way I'd look here, because I'm concerned about the ability of Colorado against Brown, even at elevation and hot weather. Houston's total 6.5. I'll go over.
South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rock and dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grand View Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show, every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grand View Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grand View Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book. Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
We don't make stuff up here.
I would only play the Pirates team total going under.
What the hell happened to Minnesota's pitching?
This total is really crashed without plumbing the lineup.
I think this number's too high, but they're landing me the 6.
Oh, I know.
Caitlin Clark drives handle on the WNBA.
Never mind all these Mickey Mouse other stations. We are giving you hands-on information.
It's Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio. Here's Jeff Parles and Alex White.
Good morning. Welcome in. It is Sports by the Book. Happy to be with you on July the 3rd. Jeff Parles, Alex White here this morning. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning. How's it going?
It's good. It's good to be here. We're off tomorrow, but we're back on Monday, but we're here right now. So join us for the next hour. Stay tuned. Wes Reynolds will join us 10:30, talking some baseball, some hoops, and much more with Wes half hour from now. But first, Alex, we can get into it today. A very weird baseball card where there's only one, well, I guess there's 2 day games because the one in Colorado, but there's only one going on right now where Miami, hey, the win streak ended, but they are leading 3-0 over Minnesota right now down in South Florida, 3-0 early with the Twins and the Fish. But we can get going on this baseball card. Also, 5 WNBA games to discuss as well. Let's start it off. Let's start with Mets and Brewers. Jose Quintana, who, of course, was a Met a year ago, having a good start to the year for the Brew Crew on the bump against David Peterson, who's had a little bit of a rough patch over his last 3 starts for New York. He's minus 150 favorite, though, here at home tonight. Total of 8. Mets and Brewers split the doubleheader yesterday, where the team that was the underdog won both games yesterday. Brewers won game 1 as a dog. Mets won game 2 as a dog.
I like Peterson in this spot here. You mentioned his last 3 starts, a little bit rough for him, but all on the road. So over the course of the season, he's been much better at home. Looking at his numbers, just a 2.22 ERA and a 1.15 whip for him. I think he'll feel comfortable being back here at home. You mentioned Quintana. pretty good year for him, and he has been better on the road, surprisingly, just a 1.31 ERA. So I like him going against his former team. I think this is an under spot. I mean, neither of these teams really scoring too much. Both of them in the first games kind of had a offensive outburst, but really, I mean, a total of 9 and 10. Winning team both scored 7 in those, but I think we'll be okay first 5. That's what I'm going to pinpoint here. First 5, we're getting a 4.5. I like that as well. So need both of these pitchers to go at least 4, preferably 5.
Oh, definitely at least 5. And probably even 6 for the Mets' sake with how much their bullpen's been used over the last few weeks. These teams entered today still as the 4th and 5th seeds in the National League. With that split yesterday, Mets still would have home field in a hypothetical series between these two teams. Again, the NL playoff chase has gotten very wonky because the Cardinals got swept by the Pirates. The red-hot Pittsburgh Pirates, who now have the longest winning streak in Major League Baseball at the current moment after beating St. Louis and not giving up a run in all 3 games. How about that? And you can get some weird stuff at this time of the year. Padres and Cardinals tied. San Diego technically ahead on the virtue of less losses, but that will even itself out as we come through the Major League Baseball season. All right, we keep it rolling. NL-only games. We go to Arizona. Hey, the Giants finally won a baseball game, Alex. They get back on the board last night with a 6-5 victory. As they'll wrap up that 4-gamer in Phoenix, looking for the 4-game split. It'll be Robbie Ray and Brandon Pfaadt. Ray, who the Giants did not score for on Saturday in a 1-0 loss to Chicago. Again, White Sox, not Cubs. A little bit different of respectability there. -20 on Ray, 8.5. I actually think this is a pretty reasonable price on Ray. Always a little bit concerned, though, again, on the road. Pfaadt, mixed bag for Pfaadt. We feel like we've talked about Pfaadt a ton this year on this show, Alex.
Well, and he started really good. Pitcher that I wanted to back, but really the last 6, even more starts for him, I have not been very impressed. Miami was a good one, but other than that, it's been pretty rough. And we're seeing him give up 6 against the Braves, 2-2. That's fine against Seattle and Toronto. Both of those go in 5 innings, and then Colorado gave up 4 at Coors Field. So we'll see what we get from him. His numbers at home are better than on the road, but still it's a 4.02 ERA. So not great from him. I would much rather be backing Robbie Ray, and I'm going to take the bullpens out. And I mean, -115, I think that's a great price here for San Francisco. Now, like you mentioned, we do need some run support from these Giants. It makes me feel better that they did get 6 yesterday. So I think they can roll that over here and be up by at least 1. So Giants first 5, -115 for me.
Yeah, I think that's actually good too. Just go first 5, not even worry with the bullpens. Now, granted, I'd rather have the San Francisco bullpen than the Arizona bullpen, as always. So tricky handicap here today. By the way, you can get, if you want to really get spicy here, Alex White, you can lay the half run in the first 5 with Ray and take a +125 price. So if you want to get real spicy, you can if you want here today with that. All right, let's go to Toronto. Boy, arguably the wildest game of the Major League Baseball season last night was played between the Jays and the Yanks. An 8-0 lead for Toronto. Yankees came all the way back, tied it at 9, and then promptly gave up a run on a wild pitch in the bottom of the 8th. Toronto added one more in an 11-9 victory. And Alex, this is a tie ball game in the American League East now. Amazingly enough, the Jays have come back. They have tied the Yankees at 48-38. The Rays, after finally finding a way to beat the Athletics yesterday, have moved within a half game. So this, all of a sudden, again, at least I was guilty of it, prematurely saying, hey, we're on a crash course for the Tigers and Yankees. This is somewhat turned into being almost a Tiger-Astro crash course. Look at the Astros, 18 games over 500 now. And the Yankees are in a legitimate dogfight in the American League East now with the Jays. Toronto's looking for the sweep. They're +120 dogs. They've been an underdog in all 3 games so far in this series and have won all 3 of them as they throw arguably their best pitcher, Chris Bassett, here today. Yeah, and I mean, we saw this exact matchup April 27th.
the Yankees did get the win 5-1 in that one. Both pitchers pitched pretty good, except for Chris Bassett, but that was on the road. So I do think he'll be better here at home. It makes me nervous to jump in after these hitters have already seen these guys once. I mean, it's pretty spread out, so I do think we'll be okay. But so it's a lean to the under. I'd probably just go full game at 8.5. But I said that yesterday too. I'm glad I stayed off of it. 11-9, like you said, was the final. So I'm probably going to stay off of it as well. But I do think both pitchers are an upgrade from Warren and Berrios yesterday. So lean to the under. Nothing definite for me.
This series has been a high scoring series as well. Jays are just playing great ball at the moment.
Yep.
And boy, you could have had some monster prices on Toronto about a month ago. Still pretty good, still in the range, and about $3, but still it's, oh man, you could have 25, 30, 40 to 1 on Toronto just because of how bad they were in fourth place. I mean, they were looked as the fourth team for a lot of this time. Especially with Baltimore's horrible start. All right, let's go to Seattle next. Kansas City and the Seattle Mariners. Mariners looking for a series win here tonight. They won last night 3-2 in a low-scoring affair. Today, it'll be Evans against Lugo, and Evans a small favorite for the M's at home. Total 7.5 on this one, -15 on Seattle, Alex.
This is one that I do like the under here. Of course, the Mariners ballpark is one that I trust. Their T-Mobile Park for pitchers. I think both these guys will be okay. I wish it was Brian Wu, who is not pitching here today. Now it is Logan Evans. But still, I think this number, 7.5, I mean, I think it should be closer to 6.5. So just 1 run difference, not huge. But I think it's enough to play it. I would lean to the Royals side as well, but I'm not going to trust either of these offenses. I mean, looking at their last 7 games, neither have been great. The Royals, 215 as a team, 64 WRC plus, and then the Mariners have really, quieted down, especially back at home, 247 average for them, 88 WRC plus. So under 7.5 for me.
I can't argue any unders in T-Mobile. I can't argue any unders with this Royal offense at the current moment as well. Just a question on the Evans side, right? That's
Correct.
Really the whole ball of wax in this game. And again, Lugo's a great trade candidate for Kansas City at the deadline. Again, the Royals 5.5 behind a wild card spot right now. Things are not looking good for anyone in the American League Central at the current moment, except for Detroit, who is well in command and currently holding the number 1 seed. You look at the right side of the screen, no one else. Twins, Guardians, Royals, White Sox, no one else over 500. No one else is within 3 games of a playoff spot. Guardians got some bad news here today with one of their young starters, which we'll get to in a moment. But it is a tough go at the current moment for really everyone involved in the American League Central.
It will be interesting to see who is willing to sell before the deadline out of those teams.
It's July. We can talk about this now. On an American League side, and it's more complex than the NL, where there's a clear line in the NL of, all right, if you're Atlanta, Miami down, and look, the Braves might not sell because they might, if they go on a run at the end of August, at the end of July, they might give themselves an opportunity. Everyone else that's at the bottom, they're not making it. Like, I know Miami's hot right now. Let's be realistic. Same with Pittsburgh. Nats, they're not going to sell their young pieces, but the veteran pieces should be up for sale. Colorado, might as well just put the for sale sign outside of Coors Field at this point. The American League side, White Sox should sell vets. A's should sell vets. Baltimore's in a totally bizarro spot, but I would sell if I was Baltimore. Honestly, I would sell if I was anyone. And I would even sell as the Red Sox too, because you've already traded your biggest bat.
True.
I would, and even the Angels could consider it. Like, realistically speaking, what's the ceiling for the Angels? That they make the playoffs and lose in the wild card round?
Right.
Which, for a franchise that hasn't been in the postseason since 2014, how much is that worth to you? Is it worth going out making deals at the deadline where you're bringing pieces in as opposed to shipping them out, is it worth it trying to just make the postseason for the first time in 11 years? I don't know. I can't answer that question for them.
Well, with Mike Trout being healthy, even though we did see him already deal with a little injury early on, but for the most part, I mean, they might be thinking about his timeline as well in that. But yeah, it'll be very interesting. And there's a lot of pieces I can think of looking down that list of people who are not in the hunt that other teams could definitely use.
100%, Alex. Let's go to the interleague slate here today. We go to Colorado. Boy, I feel like I've been snake bitten in these first two games at Coors here, where last night, I mean, Astros only score 5 runs despite having 20 base runners in the game. A little bit snake bitten on that after the push where we had 9 runs in the first 3 innings on Tuesday night. Final game of this series will be Walter and Freeland for day ball in Colorado. Total 11. Stroh's a little bit of a smaller favorite here. Actually, only $1.80 in this game, Alex, which is a little bit surprising. And you know what? At some point, I got to get this thing right in Denver. I mean, it could be 92 degrees at first pitch. You don't see that type of weather at Mile High. Now, the wind is crosswind, so the wind isn't really helping us. But come on. 92 degrees, sunny, a little bit of humidity for Denver. I'll go over 11. We've already done the fool me once. Shame on you. Fool me twice. Shame on me. Fool me 3 times. Again, the famous quote with that. But I'll go over 11. And if it doesn't get there, then so be it. I'll have egg on my face through the weekend.
I don't mind that at all. That is the way I was looking here. Especially with Walter on the other side, young pitcher for the Astros. But, I mean, he's had 4 good starts and really just 1 bad one against the Angels there. Gave up 7 just on 9 hits. On the other side, though, Kyle Freeland, the lefty, we know he has had some good years here and pitched decent at Coors, but not really this year. And you're talking about base runners. Well, I mean, 8 hits to Miami, 6 earned runs, 7 hits to the Giants. That's pretty impressive in itself. And 3 earned runs there. Walks 3, 2. Now he did do good against Miami the first time, and the Mets. And so I think we're going to see the Astros for sure. I know you went 6.5 yesterday or lean that way. I think you're okay here today. It is even money. I think I like that one even more, but I don't hate with the Rockies helping out, and you don't really know for sure what you're going to get from Walter. But I'm going to go Astros team total over 6.5. Like you mentioned, the weather. The other thing is the Astros pretty good against lefties. Tied for 4th right now, OPS, batting .358 as a team. So let's get some runs here today.
Moving along to D.C. next, Tigers and Nats yesterday played an overball double dip. Tigers dominated game 1. Nats win game 2 behind Mackenzie Gore and their 6-run outburst in the 8th inning against the Tiger pen. -40 with Detroit here with ends against Jake Irvin. 9.5 for total. That's a really good price on the Tigers. It's Irvin, we've talked about a lot this year, just super inconsistent. -40 on the Tigers. I want to take the better team at a reasonable price on the road here, Alex.
I don't hate that at all. If you were going to make me play a side, that is the way I would go. With both pitchers starting here, I think we're okay with this over as well. You mentioned it. We've seen a lot of runs scored in this series so far, and I really don't trust Jake Irvin. And as I was going through base runners for Freeland, Irvin's the same way. I mean, 9 hits to the Angels, 8 earned runs in just 4 1/3, 6 hits against the Dodgers. Now he did hold them to 2, 7 strikeouts for him in that one. That was pretty good. But then we're getting 5, 8, and 10 hits against the Diamondbacks. I think the Tigers are pretty close to the Diamondbacks. So I think they'll be okay getting some runs here in this one. So over 9.5, or it would be Tigers. I might even take a shot on that run line there, +110.
Can't really blame you on that either. We know we're getting the other at bat as well, even though actually that got to check that because that's backwards on our screen with the Tigers getting a 1.5, which is not the case. So they are laying the 1.5 at +10. So yeah, just a little flip on our screen on that one. All right, up next, we go to Atlanta. Angels and Braves up next. Split the first two. Braves win 8-3 yesterday. And now you got Elder against Soriano here tonight in Atlanta. Minus 55 on Bryce Elder, total of 9. That is a big price on Bryce Elder. We talked about Elder's last start, same sort of thing where it was thought it was too big of a price. But all the betting action's been on Atlanta in this game. So market is clearly thinking a little bit differently than me.
Well, I mean, to start the season looked great. Bryce Elder did. And then the last 3 games, he has really fallen off. It started against the Rockies, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 10 hits against Miami, kind of started their hot streak there. 5 earned runs for him in that one. And then just in 2 innings against the Phillies, that's the one we liked. We thought it was the wrong price. 8 hits and 9 earned runs. I like the Angels team total in this one, definitely over 4.5. I think that's a really good price there. I wouldn't even mind the full game, but I do like Jose Soriano. And as I said that in the last game, he did get hit pretty well. I think he'll be able to have a do factor bounce back here after his 9 hits against Washington and 8 earned runs in that one. But before that, I mean, pitching very well besides Washington and the Red Sox. So I'm going to trust him in this game. I'm going Angels over 4.5.
No problem with that. No problem with that. Also, I do like this full game over as well. Soriano, we've talked about, again, it's been a reasonable bet on this year, but again, at some point, Atlanta's just got to start hitting. And weather also real quick in this game down in Atlanta. We got wind blowing out and we got 90 degrees at first pitch. So good hitting conditions. Very
good hitting conditions. And remember, he is more of a ground ball pitcher. So that gives me some hope, but also gives up very hard contact. So Braves could definitely get some.
We go to Chicago next. Cubs and Guardians. Now, this was supposed to be Ortiz today for Cleveland, and it will not be, as he has been suspended by Major League Baseball, currently under investigation for gambling-related infractions. So we'll probably find something out about that on Luis Ortiz's end. So it'll be Joey Cantillo going today for Cleveland instead against Horton for the Cubs. Chicago going for the 3-game sweep here in this one after winning 5-4 yesterday. Minus 40 at home on Horton, and that's first 5 and full game on this with a total of 8.5, Alex.
So he has pitched in 21 games this year for Cleveland, just out of the bullpen. He hasn't started since 2024. Relatively good for the Guards, but I do think the Cubs should be able to get to him in this one. Good win. They held on to that one for Imanaga yesterday and got to Tanner Bybee, so I think they will be able to here in this one as well. Not a definite play. I lean to the Cubs. Total-wise, maybe even their team total over, but I mean, that's really it. Just a lean for both of those.
Yeah, I can't do anything here. Even though it feels like a reasonably good price on the Cubs here at minus 140, at least on my end, going for the 3-game sweep. Cubs have vaulted into the second best record in the National League. Again, it's going to be critical all the way through for all these teams in that race. We know the Dodgers more likely than not are going to get the 1 seed, but on the NL side, whoever wins the East, the Cubs as well, right now, 51-35 on Chicago. Now Philly's only half game behind because they've played 1 extra game. All right, up next we go to Dodgerland. They needed a walk-off to get it done last night in the 9th inning comeback. So the run line didn't get there, but they did win 6-5 or 5-4, I should say, last night. Going for the sweep, Dustin May, Aaron Savali. Not as big as it's been the last 2 nights, but still pretty large on LA. Yeah. Almost $3, minus 290 with a total of 9 in this one.
And I'm just going to stay off again. I just can't get myself to bet this huge price here. Even though there's a big difference with the Dodgers and the White Sox, I don't think there's a huge difference pitching-wise, even though Dustin May is having himself a pretty good year. So it's a pass for me. Minus 1.5, minus 140, that's just not a bet I'd like to get behind.
No, can't do it. I mean, look how big that price is, especially it's not even one of the better Dodger pitchers. That's right. Really the bigger issue on this. All right. That's the baseball card. We will pivot to the WNBA here before Wes Reynolds joins us in about 10 minutes. So the news this week, of course, Indiana Fever win the Commissioner's Cup with no Caitlin Clark in that game. By the way, Fever only a half game worse without Clark so far this year, as interesting as that is. But they are back at it tonight, and they will take on the Las Vegas Aces. It'll be the second in a rotation number here behind the game in New York. But we'll segue artfully into the game that's behind us. Still no Clark with that injury. I'd be surprised if we see her again before the WNBA All-Star break, which is in 2.5 weeks. Aces, Nelissa Smith acquired in a trade earlier this week from Dallas. Aces are 4.5-point road favorites here with no Clark. Total of 163 on this one, Alex.
I think that's a pretty good number there on Las Vegas. Now, we've seen this matchup once here in Las Vegas, and the Aces did get that first win. I'm a little concerned that we might have a letdown here with the Fever upsetting the Lynx and winning the Commissioner Cup first game since then. And I still think the Aces have a long way and a big climb. So they got to get every win they can. I think they'll be ready in this one. So if you made me play it, it would be Aces. I don't hate that money line just to avoid them covering the spread either.
4.5 on the road. Again, Vegas away from home this year, 3-4. So not egregious. Again, this has been a very down start for the Aces. Aja Wilson missed a few games with a concussion, but even so, even looking at this, I mean, they're 8-8. Again, the Fever 8-8 as well. But again, you expect Clark to come back, be healthy, expect the team to get better as the year goes along. Been a very weird run in the WNBA since the Liberty got off to that insane start. They've lost 5 out of their last 7 as well. So we'll get to them right now in this game as they welcome cross-country trip for the LA Sparks, who have been messy, to put it politely, this year. Liberty are 10.5 at home, totals 170. But again, New York is 5-5 in their last 10 after starting the season off. And they started off 9-0, and it's 1-5 in their last 6. 2-5 in their last 7, I should say, after that great start.
Least flashy player on their team, but a huge, huge part. Their center, Jonquel Jones, since she's gone down, I mean, it's just been rough for New York. You mentioned it, lost 4 of their last 5, 2-8 ATS. I mean, I think the bookmakers continue to make them a huge favorite in these games, but they're struggling and trying to figure out how to continue winning without their center. So I'm not going to play it. I don't trust the Sparks very much. Like you said, it's been a rough year. They're still adjusting to their Kelsey Plum era and who's really handling the ball there. So nothing for me, but I mean, I think that 10.5 is pretty tempting.
Yeah, boy. Total's interesting as well. We know the way the Sparks want to play. They want to run. They want to gun. But again, it's hard. It's interesting right now because we've talked about it. We haven't really talked much WNBA recently, but shooting percentages are way down this year. The schedule increased, but they kept it in the same footprint.
Right.
So there's just more games in a shorter footprint. And look, it may take a year or two, and there might be even more expansion to the amount of games to the WNBA schedule over the next few years, Alex. But I think that's something to keep in mind with these totals. Even if a team wants to play fast, everyone's struggling to shoot right now. We're seeing it. Well, that's part of the reason that the Liberty have struggled, because Ionescu's numbers have gone way down over the last 6 games.
Well, with these two, though, Jeff, I mean, this would be an over or pass because you mentioned it. Liberty wants to play fast. Sparks want to as well, just trying to get downhill. So I would lean over. The Liberty are on a nice little over run here, just 1 under in their last 6, 7 actually. So 6-1 to the over. So if anything, I would lean to the over for these two.
We go to Atlanta next. Dream right now, again, off to a good start, 11-6. 10-7 for Seattle. Storm are road favorites in this one, laying 2 with a total of 158, Alex.
So there is some home revenge here in this one for Seattle because Atlanta did go there and win 94-87. I expect another tight game between these two who are both playing very good basketball. I understand that total 158, 2 of the better defenses in the league, but no strong conviction. I mean, I think 2's okay, but I do think the Dream are the better team. So it's kind of tough, but you add in that home revenge, and I think the Storm will be ready for this matchup.
Yeah, I'm going to steer clear. It feels, it's almost, I know you have the revenge angle, but it feels like the wrong team's favored, which makes me want to just completely stay away here in this one. All right, Dallas and Phoenix. Boy, the Mercury, who kind of went under the radar this offseason, off to a 12-5 start, which is good for the second best record in the WNBA right now. They go to Dallas. We know Dallas rebuild more than anything. They just traded Smith as well, so it's an even further rebuild. Next year's the year you really look at as a potential, all right, Beckers takes an even bigger leap forward, and this team could be a playoff team yet again. The 12.5-point dogs at home with a total of 165.5 in this one, Alex.
Complete pass for me in this one. So Phoenix did win the first one by 13. High-scoring game, 93-80, June 11th at home. Phoenix are going for their 5th straight road win. So you mentioned it, kind of under the radar, but have some really good stars that are, I mean, they've got 4 girls that are all averaging double-digit points with Copper and Alyssa Thomas and Sabali. So nothing for me in this one. I'd like to see Dallas continue to play well. And you're right. I do think they have a high ceiling with the team that they do have built around Paige.
Last one up in the WNBA, the league's best, Minnesota, who's coming off the Commissioner Cup loss on Tuesday, I should say. They will welcome Washington tonight. Mystics only a game under 500, so hanging around. 11.5-point line here. Lynx, of course, favored at home, total 155.
Hard to try and predict how they are going to respond in this one from that loss to the Fever. I do think we have a little bit of a letdown spot for Indiana. What do we get from the Lynx? They did just lose to this Washington Mystics team not too far, June 24th. The Mystics beat them 68-64. So adding that into it, I think Minnesota will be ready. Won't take them lightly, that's for sure. But just kind of worried about where their head's at after falling short in that Commissioner's Cup game.
Those are your 5 games here on the slate for the W here today on July the 3rd. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Trivia question will go in the bottom. When we get back, Wes Reynolds, sports betting analyst, will join us next right here, Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
Contest sign-up season is here, and you don't want to miss out on the action. With millions of dollars on the line each and every week in the world's biggest football contest, there's only one proxy to trust, footballcontest.com. Maddie and Tony have set the gold standard for football contest proxy services with 20 years of experience and over $13 million in winnings for their clients. All you have to do is get to Vegas between now and the start of football season to sign up in person, and they do the rest, making sure your picks are entered every week. Whether you want to play in the Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, Super Contest Gold, or the new Super Contest College Contest, Maddie and Tony have you covered. Their new website has everything you need to know about these football contests and more, including how you can reserve the best proxy in the business. Experience matters, so go with the pros at footballcontest.com, the gold standard proxy service. typically it is our Fridays that are sponsored by footballcontest.com, but we are proud to say this Thursday, July 3rd, this episode is sponsored by footballcontest.com. If you plan to enter any Vegas football contest this summer, you got to go with the pros at footballcontest.com. Experience matters. You're going to visit proxy.footballcontest.com and use the promo code Alex, and you will get a special offer from Maddie and Tony. Looking forward to signing up for all those contests as well. I know Jeff is excited for the college one.
Getting there. Only 6 weeks away from week 0. I know that won't be in the contest, but still exciting to have a college contest back in the fold here with the Hill contest that disappeared last year. So we're looking forward to it. Always a good time. All right, now joining us, good friend of ours. You see him across the betting space, including betting weekly hardball with him and Doug Kazarian as well. Our good friend Wes Reynolds, betting analyst, joins us right now. Wes, good morning.
Jeff, we finally wore the guys over there at the Superbook down, demanding a college contest for about the last 10 years. So credit to John Murray and the gang over there at Superbook for allowing us a college contest. I'm excited to get in it this year. But I got to beat Alex, though, and that's going to be tough to do based on how she's done in college football.
Well, of course, Alex, last woman standing in the last man standing contest 2 years ago now, right?
Almost 3.
Wow, time flies. And Alex was deep in the contest a year ago as well, in both the NFL and college, where it's rare that we lose on Patrick Mahomes, but you were not alone on that one last year. All right, let's Wes, let's pivot to baseball though. Let's start an individual game here, and it's just a game that's for first place in the American League East. I don't think anyone expected this. The Blue Jays have taken the first 3 off the Yankees. It's a square tie now in the East, and both those teams only a half game clear. Tampa as well entering today's action. Rays are off, so the Rays will be a game behind whoever wins tonight. Yankees throwing Clark Schmidt, Chris Bassett for Toronto. Here at the South Point, it's $1.35 on New York, plus 20 on the Blue Jays, Wes.
Yeah, I do like the Yankees here, and I like the Blue Jays, by the way, before the season in the AL East. I did not see this run coming, though, over the last month. And then the Yankees have kind of regressed a little bit to the mean here, but it was 8-0 through 4 innings. Remember, Will Warren gave up 7 in the first last night, so gave up a touchdown early on, and the Yankees still found a way to get back in the game. So what that did is that forced Toronto to really use a lot of those high leverage arms. The bullpen, and this is my reason for the play on the Yankees, the bullpen for Toronto is just in bad shape. Hoffman and Rodriguez have thrown 3 of the last 4. Garcia threw 30-plus last night. So did Little. So you've got these other key relievers that would be working 3 times in 4 days. And if Hoffman and Rodriguez go, that'd be 4 times in 5. So Chris Bassett's going to have to go deep, and Chris Bassett hadn't been going deep over the last month or so. Last 7 starts, 6.57 ERA, 4.66 on the fielding independent. So third time through the order against the Yankees. That could get dicey in the 4th or 5th inning, but they're going to have to stick with him. They can't panic and necessarily pull him because that bullpen is in such bad shape. And meanwhile, the Yankees, even though Clark Schmidt was kind of, ho-hum against the A's last time, last 7 starts, 2.09 ERA for Clark Schmidt against a bunch of righties who he fares better against than lefties, and the Jays a very heavy righty lineup. So I like the Yankees. I think this is a relatively cheap price. Getting up there at the South Point, though, where you guys are at 135, that'd be about my high in terms of what I would lay here with the Pinstripes. But I think they salvage something here and escape Toronto with a 1-game lead.
Wes, keeping it in the American League, kind of just from a macro sense, I want to go to the West where the Astros have really turned it on. They are now 32-14 at home, so that definitely helps them hold that first place. Are you a buyer in either the Mariners or the Rangers? Could either of them make a run and maybe steal the division and or maybe just sneak into the playoffs?
Yeah, I don't know about the Rangers, Alex. I keep waiting for them to start hitting, and they just are not. Even though the starting pitching, for the most part, DeGrom, Eovaldi, I think have been very solid, but I keep waiting for that to happen with the Rangers, and it just hasn't happened. But Seattle, who has kind of come back to earth, but this is a team that does hit a little bit better on the road than they do at home. It's more of a pitcher's park. The pitching, especially George Kirby, who has come back. He's now a few starts back from the injury, returning. He needs to be a little bit more consistent. Like the other night, or a couple nights ago, he threw, I think, 85 pitches through 6 innings, and then they took him out of the game. And you need a little bit more, and not wanting to baby George Kirby so much. He was dealing against the Royals, and they they went ahead and Wilson took him out. So I want to make a case for Seattle, because I do think that they can hang in here, and we'll see what kind of move they make at the deadline, because I think the Astros, I don't want to discredit them, but they're getting a little bit fat and happy on some lower par teams, including closing out that series against the Rockies this afternoon in Denver. So I'm not totally convinced with the Astros, but they have been on an absolute tear over the last month and a half to 2 months.
Currently in that 2 slot, and 4 games clear of the AL East leading Jays and Yankees right now for the West said, now that we've now proven that a team with a bye can win the World Series multiple times in this format, having that bye is critical, especially in the AL and on the NL side, especially this upcoming postseason, Wes.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, Jeff, and because of the injury factor. Look, we've seen it work against the Dodgers over the last couple of years and until recently. But when especially when your pitching staff is a little bit banged up and you're having to count on guys that you're usually not counting on, like you look at the Astros, Framber Valdez has been pretty darn consistent. He's always a steady Eddie and can really eat a lot of innings. But you're Brandon Walter, Hunter Brown has stepped up this year, but the Astros pitching staff with McCullers has been really up and down with his return from the injury. Sometimes he's looked like, okay, this is the Lance McCullers of old. And then sometimes it's like, well, he's not going deep enough in games. He's getting 4 1/3 and he's getting in a lot of trouble and not striking guys out. But that's what I am a little bit concerned with the Astros is, can that starting pitching staff hold up?
NL side of things, Wes, of course, the Dodgers have really started to run away and hide from everyone in the National League West, but the other races are both tight. Philly, only 2 games clear. The Mets, Cubs are 3 games clear of the rest of the NL Central entering today's action. Mets have struggled, but of course, as we know, still holding that first wild card. What do we look at here in the NL for the non-Dodger argument at the current moment?
Hey, look, over the last month or so, I've been I kept saying, "Hey, don't discount the Braves just yet. They may get to a wild card." But I'm almost at my wit's end with the Atlanta Braves, and I think that just the pitching injuries, not only Sale on the injury list, now Spencer Schwellenbach, that kind of got buried in the lead in a tweet that they sent out yesterday, right at the bottom of the picture. By the way, Spencer Schwellenbach on the injured list. So this pitching staff has just been beat up this year. Smith Shawver, of course, out for the season. So I'm ready to wave the white flag on the Braves in terms of a wild card standpoint. But I still think Central's wide open here. I'm hopeful my Cincinnati Reds can at least somehow stay afloat there. They're 3 games over 500, but 6.5 back. National League, I think Phillies Mets, that's who it's going to be. It's going to go down the wire. I know your Mets have kind of, really fallen on hard times over this last month, but they're only 2 back, Jeff.
Yeah.
So I still think they're right in it. And then the West, maybe if you want to make a case for a wild card team at some plus money to make the playoffs, Diamondbacks aren't maybe the worst bet in the world. They're 500. These guys hit the tar out of the ball. They can put up some big time runs. We saw that in the San Francisco series for the most part in the first 2 games. I could see them, making the playoffs. I know they're down there in 4th place in a really tough division, but they're still right there. So, this is what you want to look at. You want to look at those teams that are a little bit off, that aren't right at the top of the standings, that maybe could find their way into a wild card. And I think the Diamondbacks certainly could.
I do agree with that, Wes. I mean, looking at the Padres, they're so top heavy in that lineup. I trust the Diamondbacks full lineup more. And can you explain what has happened to the Giants offensively ever since the Devers trade?
Yeah, Alex, they've been sputtering, I think, to say the least. And, I don't know if that's, regression, finding the mean here, because the Giants, I think, they got out to a much better start than I think a lot of people thought that they were going to. It's kind of like, maybe they're about a 500 team, and then they were right up there with the Dodgers. Now they fall into 3rd place. I really can explain it, to be honest with you, because you thought maybe Devers, was going to be the missing piece for these guys. And they go really cold at the plate. It's not like a heavy strikeout lineup necessarily, because you get guys that fight off pitches. The guys like Lee and Flores are kind of tough to strike out, but some of those guys at the top, Yastrzemski and Hector Ramos, they got to start putting the ball in play a lot more. They can't be easy outs up there at the top of the lineup. So that's why they brought Devers in to kind of help those guys out. But short-term results, at least, not the best result for the San Francisco Giants.
Wes, I want to pivot over to the NBA offseason that is well underway already. The Knicks' perplexing coaching search ended with Mike Brown yesterday. But Wes, obviously you're an Indiana guy. The heartbreak in the final, the Halliburton injury has changed the course of what this NBA offseason has looked like on the Eastern Conference side. Just your thoughts on what you've seen so far, and if there's anything we can do in that wide open Eastern Conference right now where pretty much every team is impacted one way or another, whether it's injuries or lacking roster behind a superstar, or was that coaching search really necessary?
Yeah, I got to start with the Pacers here because, it's always tough to let a guy go for nothing. And that's exactly what happened with Miles Turner signing with the Bucks. Now, had he signed with the Nuggets or the Clippers or somebody out west, I don't think it would have been as criticized as it was. But I don't blame the Pacers and Herb Simon for not necessarily going into the luxury tax this year, because Tyrese Halliburton, he's the straw that stirs the drink, so to speak. He's the guy. And Miles Turner benefited from his presence more than anybody. So now all of a sudden, Miles Turner's value decreases a little bit. And the Pacers, I just think it's kind of a wait and see mode. I trust that front office that they're still going to field a competitive team. But you look at what the Bucks did, and it's like, okay, we stole one of the guys from our rivals, the Pacers, but it's kind of like, what are they doing here? You're basically paying Miles Turner $50 million a year when you count the dead cap space for Damian Lillard, plus what they paid Miles on that 4-107 deal. So I don't know if that really made the Bucks better. And when I'm looking at the East, I do think it's wide open. I think Orlando has been bought a little bit overbought here in the market, seeing them like the third choice to win the East. I still don't think they're there, even though I think they're better with Desmond Bane. The Philadelphia 76ers are kind of the team, Jeff, that's getting a little bit ignored in the market. And I've seen them anywhere 12-1, 14-1 to win the East. You still got Joel Embiid, Paul George, and Tyrese Maxey. Now, can they stay healthy? That's the ultimate question. But they've got some guys who can shoot the ball off the bench. Gordon, we'll see if they bring Grimes back. But I think this Sixers team, especially with the championship coach like Nick Nurse, they're being a little bit discounted in what is a wide open East.
What about Cleveland there, Wes? You did not mention the Cavs, who did finish first in the East last year, but nobody's really believing in this team making a deep run.
Yeah, they'd be power rated number one for me, Alex, and I would have power rated them number one even if Tyrese Halliburton doesn't tear his Achilles there in Game 7 on the floor in Oklahoma City. I just felt coming back, they have almost everybody back. They had to let Ty Jerome walk because somebody was going to overpay for him, and Memphis did. So I still think that they're right there. I thought that Lonzo Ball trade actually was very good for this team because he's a guy that's a good ball distributor. Darius Garland, we know, has kind of been, a little bit up and down over the last couple seasons. So I still think Cleveland is the favorite, but they still got to prove it a little bit because they face planted, quite frankly, in the playoffs against the Indiana Pacers, a team that everybody thought that they were going to beat relatively easy in 5 or 6 games, and they end up losing in 5 games. So I think rightful favorite, but they can be had in the East.
Wes, before we let you go, I just want to go to the WNBA real quick because your Fever win the Commissioner Cup championship without Kayla Clark in the lineup, amazingly enough. And it's been such an odd year in the WNBA where the Liberty get off to the start. I mean, sportsbooks were putting up over the Liberty go undefeated at the worst numbers you could imagine, but that's a different story for a different time. And they've lost 5 out of their last 6. Minnesota Collier's dealt with a back issue over the last few weeks. Just at large here, is this still a favorites league, like the Liberty plus 120, Lynx plus 220 to win it all? Or look, Phoenix, who's off to this great start, sitting there at plus 550 right now.
Well, Phoenix is obviously the big mover in the market.
Yes.
I think that trade has absolutely worked out for them, getting Satu Sabali, getting Alyssa Thomas, and now getting a little bit healthier are the Phoenix Mercury, and they did get beat by the Aces on Sunday, so kind of a tough loss there for them, but I still think it's more of a favorites league. I think the Fever are going to make a run in the second half of the season once they get 22 back. Now, you're not getting a good price in the market because of the fact that they have number 22, and she's kind of the quote-unquote face that runs the place from at least a box office and a rating standpoint. So you're not getting that kind of value, I think, necessarily with the Fever. And then especially tonight, 4.5 seems fair in the market with the Aces laying because you do have Caitlin out. You also have them off that cup where they celebrated in the locker room. If you're watching Sid Colson's IG, not that I was, but I saw it all over on Twitter. And Nalissa Smith makes her return to Indiana. She might be in the lineup or playing some minutes for the Aces. Remember, she was just acquired from Dallas. Fever traded her in the offseason. So I don't think this is a spot to back the Fever tonight. But from a macro sense, I think, the market's now out on Phoenix. But Atlanta Dream, if you want a little bit of a dark horse, is somebody to keep in mind. No Ryan Howard, by the way, tonight against Seattle, but the Atlanta Dream, Carl Semesco, who coached at Florida Gulf Coast for years, is a hell of a coach. And getting it done where they're an 11-6 team with not even the personnel that he wants to run that up and down style.
Again, they're on, like you said, off to a great start. Florida Gulf Coast was always a good 11 or 12 seed and pulled off a few upsets while he was there and turned out to be a good WNBA coach so far. Usually not the easiest of moves, but so far Smesco has been able to do that. He's Wes Reynolds. You can get him on the tweets at Wes Reynolds 1. Of course, one of the best golf bettors out there as well. Check out his content from his Twitter account for what he was on this week. Of course, Open Championship's coming in 2 weeks as well, so be on the lookout for all Wes's golf content as well. And, of course, with us here today on Sports by the Book. Wes, always a pleasure, my friend. I'm sure we'll do it again soon.
Jeff, Alex, thanks for having me. Great to talk to you.
Absolutely. Wes Reynolds, everyone. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, the whiteboard, the trivia answer, and then we will head to an early weekend for us right here on Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world. Our gaming amenities include over 60 table games and over 2,600 of the most popular slot and video poker machines. We have penny slots, including the popular Buffalo games, and real machines like Wheel of Fortune, 777s, and Megabucks. If you prefer video poker, try Deuces Wild, Double Double Bonus, or a variety of multi-denomination games. Or try your hand at one of the most popular casino table games in the world, Blackjack. Don't let the game intimidate you. Blackjack, also known as 21, is both easy and fun. And our dealers are always happy to assist. And the best part? Blackjack always pays 3 to 2. Next, check out the roulette tables. Roulette is one of the easiest casino games to learn, and so much fun to play. It's a favorite of both beginners and seasoned players. In addition to blackjack and roulette, our casino pit features over 60 popular table games like Baccarat, Pai Gow Poker, 3-Card Poker, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, and Mississippi Stud. So get out of your room and come join in the fun.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book. Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
We don't make stuff up here.
I would only play the Pirates team total going under.
What the hell happened to Minnesota's pitching?
This total has really crashed without plumbing the lineup.
I think this number's too high, but they're laying me the 6.
Oh, I know.
Caitlin Clark drives handle on the WNBA.
Never mind all these Mickey Mouse other stations. We are giving you hands-on information.
We're back in Sports by the Book here at the South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White. Big thanks to Wes Reynolds for hanging out with us here today. Trivia question time. A total of 30 tennis players won a Wimbledon singles title on this day, July 3rd, between 1900 and 2011, long range. Who was the youngest female and the youngest male to win on the grass on July 3rd? That's the key to this. No one got it fully correct. The men's champion was Bjorn Borg. So you're on the right track with if you bet Becker, but it said Becker, but it was Borg who did it. Won his first of 5 in a row at age 20 on this date, 1976. And then Maureen Little Mo Connolly won her 3rd consecutive Wimbledon at the age of 19. Wow. It was a hell of a start, hell of an end to your teens, Alex. No one got it right. Lottie Dodd and Boris Becker were prominent guesses. They were the youngest, but they didn't do it on July 3rd. So that was the caveat here today. So no one got it right. We get to the winners column here today, here at the studio. Vince in the winners column.
Yes.
Way to go, Vince. You stumped everyone.
That's good.
There it is. All right. Before we get out of here today, we're off tomorrow. We're back normal time on Monday, but Race Day Las Vegas, right, with a normal schedule, correct? Over the next few days. So Race Day Las Vegas, if you want content from the studio, 7 a.m. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So Ralph is here to get you ready for everything around the track. But we're off tomorrow. We're back on Monday here on Sports by the Book. Dwayne Colucci joins us, as always, at 10 a.m. right here on the show. But before we go, Alex White with a few plays to get you ready for a holiday weekend.
Yes, and that was Drew Dog, if you heard him say yes, because proudly been handling that Race Day show the last couple weeks. But I've got 4 for you today. I'm going with the Giants with Robbie Ray on the bump. I think we got a huge pitching advantage over Brandon Pfaadt. I'm going first 5 minus 115. I think that's a great price there. I'm going with an under with the Royals and the Mariners. Don't really trust either offense, and I think Seth Lugo and Logan Evans will do good enough to keep us low scoring for the first 5 or 6 there. I'm going with the Astros team total over 6.5 at Coors Field. I think today's the day, Jeff. We've been trying to get these team totals over the last couple days. I did see 40 Kid is also on the Astros. He is just laying the price there for them to get the win. I don't hate that at all. And then I'm going with the Angels team total 4.5. I hope that did not move. I'm seeing that was the opening number here at the South Point at plus 110. So I think we're going to get some runs there against Bryce Elder. Soriano on the other side for Los Angeles.
There you go. That's your quartet of games here today. We're going to have a lot of fun over the next few days on our off days, but we're also going to have fun when we get back on Monday. So looking forward to that.
And check the Sports by the Book Twitter page because tomorrow still be handicapping, following baseball. Yep. So we will tweet out if we like any plays there on our Sports by the Book.
There you go. We'll be on the lookout for that. Shout out to the crew, Jerry, Ryan, and Vince, and Drew Dog, getting us all ready here on the show. We're back on Monday. Dwayne Colucci will join us as he always does on Mondays. We're looking forward to it right here. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Enjoy your 4th of July, everybody.